Yep.
Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to the Seabrook School Board meeting. I want to welcome our new board members, Maria Brown and Lacey Fowler. Congratulations. Thank you. And I'm going to ask folks to join me in standing for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first task today is to appoint the board chair. So I am looking for nominations for the position of chair.
I nominate Maria Brown for the board chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Maria, do you accept?
I will, and thank you for the confidence. Love it. Thanks.
So there's a motion to elect Maria Brown as chair of the Seabrook School Board. All of those in favor? Opposed? Abstained?
Yeah. Motion passed.
Okay. The meeting is yours.
All right, I haven't done this in a little while.
Happy to help.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and we will, do we start with the
Vice chair.
vice chair? Okay, motion?
Make a motion to nominate Kelly Huber as vice chair of the Seabrook School Board.
I'll second that.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Lacey? Okay. I just need to hear you.
Yeah,
Hear you
sorry.
guys do it,
Yep.
so usually I'm loud.
All in favor?
Okay. Any no's or any abstentions? You abstain. Motion passed.
Okay. And then next, is everybody comfortable doing the committee appointments this evening with the agenda? If you want to do it now, or?
If you could, just because, yeah, I would like to look over these before I request you on any board and understand a little more before I dive in.
So we'll table that until the next meeting?
That's good. I think we've
Yeah.
got a pretty full agenda. Everyone can kind of go through the different
Yes.
committees and we can come back and put this on the agenda for the next meeting. And we'll hammer out all of the committees.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, because we just the first time it's up the agenda, so it's been, okay. Next is student update, student representative report. Anyone up?
Good evening, everyone. Is this turned on? Turned on. So tonight we have our student representatives for the school board. They're 8th graders. They're volunteering their time for the rest of the year to come to each of the board meetings and just share the student perspective, which I think is really important to have that student voice. So we have with us Gail Watts, Dory Dillon, and Ava McDonald. I'll let them explain what's been happening at the middle school.
Excellent.
Hello, we're the new student representatives for the board meetings. Thank you for having us. My name is Dory Dillon.
I'm Ava McDonald, and I'm Gail Fox, and we're all 8th graders.
Seabrook Middle School students have been very successful in classrooms, and there are many exciting things happening recently around our school. Our trimester 2 grades are now available to all families to check, and everyone's done a wonderful job. We had the Lieutenant Jazz Band and chamber singers visiting and giving us a performance showing what the 2 classes involve. We also had the world languages from the high school visit us to talk about the different language classes, clubs, and field trips that they did. The 8th grade finished picking our classes for high school on March 8th. The 8th grade band and chorus have an upcoming field trip joined by the other Winnicott High School freshmen of next year. We also have more future field trips with the 8th grade and the band and chorus in the coming months. In the 8th grade, we're doing a big passion project throughout the year, and we just started a budget project that was created to help us thrive in the future for budgeting and living. In the 7th grade, they had a special guest from the former Lost Boy, Peter Nyani from Sudan. I saw this last year as well, and this was very impactful for me. It painted a picture for me about what happens in places outside of Seabrook, and I'm very grateful for that experience. In science class, they dissected a sheep heart. In 6th grade, they are doing a book project in library media, and are sending letters to companies that share their persuasive writings with LA. One of the companies even brought them in a free lunch. And we don't have much for the 5th grade at the moment.
Seabrook Middle School students have been very busy after school. Student council has begun working on the end of the year dance. The Candygram fundraiser was a huge success, and most of the profits will be put into the dance. Chess Club is planning a field trip to Cornerstone and Hampton to play and teach chess to the residents. Chess Club also went to Winnicott for a chess tournament, and 6th grader Charlie Prada came in 2nd place. Congratulations, Charlie. Health Club has been making a presentation to hopefully get more interest within the 5th grade to join our club. Youth to Youth recently had their sticker shock field trip where students put stickers on alcoholic beverages to help prevent youth drinking. Every Thursday, an instrument has stayed after school to practice for our upcoming spring concert. Tech Club has been meeting in the SMS library to explore new technologies and have fun with their friends. This is a new club for our school, and we're so glad to have it.
There have been many things happening in the community. For example, the 8th grade has a big trip coming up. Recently, we've been fundraising. A big fundraiser just happened at the school on the 16th. It was a wonderful cornhole tournament, and a big thank you to all who participated in helping our trip to the Capitol. The Spelling Bee and GeoBee were very successful, having many participants, and I know that I had fun participating in both. A 6th grader, Jaden Kierstead, won the Spelling Bee, and Michael Allard from 6th grade won the GeoBee. Congratulations to both students. The 7th graders had a bake sale the week of February 2nd. It was very successful and it helped the Superstar FC nonprofit organization. Each month we have a RAM assembly, and my fellow peers and I have a great time each month, and I look forward to that. We celebrate the RAM students and get to have fun with teachers. We have 2 exhibition nights a year, as you may know, and we've had both already. These nights let parents know what their child is learning in each subject. It gives them the opportunity to talk with their kids' teachers and enjoy pizza.
Thank you, those were very good reports. Appreciate always hearing from the students. And then the next thing we'll move on to is public comment. If anybody has anything on agenda items, please come up, say your name, and
The 8th grade just wanted to come up quickly. The whole 8th grade. We just finished our fundraising efforts. It was an enormously huge, successful, awesome adventure with the community and with kids. And we just wanted to say thank you. We also received some incredible donations that we're going to be presenting. We're a little off on the process, but for approval. Will you help me with the numbers again?
Sure. The Hampton Rotary Club donated $1,000 to sponsor one of the Interact kids. The Hampton Crime Line donated $2,500. And just heard last week that the Seabrook Lions Club is donating $5,000.
Wow.
So it can go. So that really helps us make sure that all the kids are all set.
And we also had a couple kids who actually went out and got scholarships from people
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
in the
Close.
community as well,
Close.
fully paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. They wrote the scholarships.
Great.
Yeah.
So thanks to the community and to everyone involved for helping our kids have these awesome experiences.
Thank you guys.
anybody else? Everybody's all set? Okay. We'll move on to the minutes, February 1st, 2024 special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 1st, 2024 special meeting.
I'll second.
Jen?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Abstain?
Yeah.
Okay. Kelly, you were two in favor? Okay, so we have 3 yeses and 2 abstain, motion passed.
Yes. And then the next set of minutes is February 5th, 2024, regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 5th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Abstaining, 2 of us. And then the next items, because I'm new here tonight, I'm not sure if you go over every individual report. Is that what we're gonna do? Okay, then we'll start with the superintendent's report.
And the board can always change that if it wishes to.
Okay.
Sometimes in the interest of time, we do have to be short. So I'll start with my report. Essentially begins with just thanking voters for their support during the election process and the voting process. While not all of our warrant articles passed, we are grateful for the support of the supplemental warrant article. And certainly, we'll be talking later tonight about budget, given that the budget did not pass. Well, let's see. Joint board will be meeting coming up on the 28th of March, and so we held orientation sessions for new board members today, and there's one tomorrow afternoon for folks who are able to attend, but our agenda for that meeting on the 28th will include reorganization of that board, a session with the New Hampshire School Board Association, reviewing roles and responsibilities for school board members and the right to know law. We'll be reviewing policies, the superintendent evaluation, and an update on our communication plan. And we are approaching crossover time in the state legislature, so typically, at least since I've been here, we have scheduled meetings with our local legislators to review those bills that are moving from House to Senate and vice versa. So we'll be looking to do that sometime in mid-April. Coming up on your agenda for the April meeting will be nominations for teachers and administrators, so just to put that on your radar. And then I highlighted just a couple of things that are happening around the district, and I'm sure Brian will speak about this, but Seabrook fourth graders have some maple sugar experiences, and you can see a list of some other things that are happening around the district, including exhibition night here, and for those of you who weren't able to attend, the production of Beauty and the Beast at the high school last weekend, which Lumiere and La Pooh, a couple of Seabrook alum who are showing off their talents, former members, and Chip. I'd forgotten Chip. How did you forget Chip? Anyway, who've been in previous productions here at the middle school under the leadership of Denise and Rebecca. And then just calling out the student leadership team. They met, whenever this was, a few weeks ago now, to talk about mental health and wellness, a topic that they requested. And they talked in small groups about just how friends support each other and the benefits of friendship on mental health. And then they also made some preliminary plans. A few students will be joining us for the teacher workshop day on April 3rd to talk to the staff about stress and mental health and wellness and the student experience with that. And there was also considerable discussion about the Unplugged Challenge, which took place at Independent High School, which was a day with no devices. Nobody had their phones, nobody used computers, and the feedback from the students who participated and the leadership team was very positive, and felt that their peers also found it to be a very positive experience and somewhat eye-opening. So, I'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, we'll move on to the curriculum, instruction, and assessment report.
Sure. Full reports in your packet, but I gave an update on the full admin meeting that we had a couple weeks ago where we talked about evaluations. Safety and security update for you guys. Notably, April 3rd is a 2024 Great Regional Emergency Drill. That's Seabrook specific. That has to do with the power plant. And we will have representation there. You should know that. Strategic planning update predicated on Portugal Learner. Our schools are now in the process of doing school improvement plans, their own SIPs, SIPs, which you will see coming out this spring for sure. And then last, educator endorsements, just an update on certification of our teachers. April 15th is the deadline for all of our teachers across the SAU.
We have hard to complete those.
I hate to
Numbers
say
are a little on
this,
the low side.
Southampton locked it up. Well, we only have 8 credentials to certify, and we got 100% so far. So yeah, we're starting the hard press at this point.
Any questions? Student services report?
Good evening. A few updates from Student Services this evening, starting with Grandparent Cafe. Wanted to share with you a new initiative. We actually have Patrice Baker here this evening. Patrice is our intervention outreach specialist, and she is doing all kinds of great initiatives across the SAU, and this is another one. So the data is pretty strong about children that are living in multi-generational families, and even grandparents who are in the role of kinship provider, where they may be bringing up their own grandchild. And so having a support opportunity for these folks is important. So Patrice has offered, through a partnership with the Seabrook and the Hampton libraries, as well as Step Up Parents, to offer the support group about every other week, starting February through June. And there are some incentives for joining, and so far the participation has been growing, and we're really happy to kind of announce this. The flyer is in your packet, and all the principals, I believe, are sending it out with their newsletters so that we can help Patrice advertise this. She's also been out in the community recently posting those flyers around the community, and anyone, even though it's at the library in Seabrook and it's at the public library in Hampton, all of the kinship providers and grandparents are invited to attend. A couple of professional learning updates. We had the opportunity in February, and we will again in April, for a cohort of special services directors and lead teachers to work with Dr. Alan Bloom. We're really focusing on the components of specially designed instruction, the content, the methodology, delivery of services, just kind of looking at our IEPs in general, and getting more information around not only compliance issues, but writing our methodology around good practices and making sure that we have strong accommodations and strong modifications when needed. On April 3rd, as Superintendent Nato mentioned, we're going to gather the instructional staff from across the SAU. This is an annual opportunity every April to gather everybody together with a focus on those supports that our students need most. And we have really excited to welcome Burko Chardon from Novak Education. And there's a piece that he and Katie Novak have worked on called Universal Design for Learning, and also with an equity lens. So we're looking forward to helping our teachers to gain more tools in their toolbox that will help them make this link between social development and the universal design for learning, and so helping us to do more positive things going on. Also wanted to mention that because of a partnership we have with JSI, Research and Training Institute, we were invited to apply for an award. If awarded, it would provide a comprehensive and valuable student assistance program for the middle school year. It's really difficult to provide a cohesive and comprehensive program when there's so many, our students have so many needs, and the intensity of what the services are increasing. And so we feel like if we have an opportunity to provide a comprehensive student assistance program that's integrated with the greater community, we might be able to provide more prevention education, more parent programs, more strategies, and hopefully that will lead to students having more time on learning. So if funded, the clinician recruited for the opportunity will serve as a lead for the newly designed team, the student assistance program team, and hopefully bringing necessary qualifications and experience to support the needs of the students at our school. The wonderful thing about this is that we have requested a total of just over $106,000, and there's a required 25% match contribution, but it can be made up of not just monetary contribution, but also in-kind funding sources. And so we were able to do that match with in-kind contributions of professional learning, office space, as well as a nominal amount from another grant. So there will be no impact to the budget if this is awarded. We're hoping that this facilitator, this clinician, would be able to gather the team's resources, effectively manage the critical needs and emergencies as they arise, and then develop, promote, and facilitate this comprehensive program. Really talking about education, resource outreach, and taking this responsibility off of teachers and making it great. So this is a sample of one of the frameworks that can be included here that might be used, but we want to allow the clinician and the team to really adopt the framework that they think might be most appropriate. So more to come. We have not heard any news back on our proposal yet. We will keep you posted and let you know if that happens.
Would this be a one-time funding of the 106, so then after the
It's
first year?
renewable annually.
Annually, so it's not something that's gonna get rolled back into the budget?
No, it's renewed annually through the JSI support. We actually have, through Seacoast Youth Services, and Janine and Vicki here today, we've had the opportunity to have something similar, not in a lead capacity, but some support that's been managed through Seacoast Youth Services, and they've been able to renew it, I believe, since 2015, but I'd have to just check with Janine and Vic, make sure that that date's right. So it's a wonderful opportunity.
They're not.
13 years. Did I get it right?
Yeah, 13 years.
2015?
No,
Then-
further back.
Further
13
back.
years, Vic.
Okay, Vic says, all right, longer than that.
2011.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm really concerned with the programs that are brought to us in this manner, because we were brought forward the grant for $150,000 for the community school, and it was given to us in a matter of 15 minutes. We made the approval, and then just today, received all the information on that grant that was never shared with us on the $150,000 approval. So I feel like that when the board is getting information, we are criticized for making a decision or not making a decision based on whatever information, when in fact we're giving no information. People have a really hard time believing us when we tell them we don't know anything about this, or if we give them information on what we do know, they say, that is nothing like what you've been told. So I don't know about the rest of the board, but I am not approving or accepting any grant whatsoever unless it's brought to us prior to being applied for, and that we know all the details, because I am ready to discuss the community school at this meeting. Like, I am, after this last election and what this board went through, being blindsided, there's a website, none of us knew any of this. There are people in our town that are on the website that have no idea they're on the website. They received one email about a Zoom meeting, the next thing you know, they're listed on the website. And I just think that we owe it to the parents to at least know what we're approving before we approve it. And that $150,000, we were told was an extended preschool program, and that is it. You did not mention any other thing that is involved in a community school, at all. We had to find it all out through a website or from word of mouth on Facebook. And now we're looking at another psychiatrist coming into the school, because that's what it is. It's a psychiatrist, social worker, counselor, or mental health clinician, when the taxpayers just already voted out a social worker. So if we approve this, then even though it's not coming out of the budget, we're not taking into consideration what the vote just went through. So, I mean, I don't feel comfortable accepting any more grants, or what, Meredith? You can talk.
Well, I'm
I'm
looking for
sorry,
the chair.
Dana.
Yeah, I just wanted the board member to finish though, and I wanna make sure nobody else has
Yeah.
any input on
I
this
said
one.
what I
I'm
said.
sorry, we'll go back to you. Okay?
I agree with Kelly. I would like to, this is my first day, but I would like to have as much information as possible before I make a decision. I don't wanna make a decision off of a paragraph out of a, 100-page book, if that makes any sense. So, I agree with Kelly in that aspect.
We appreciate that, Karen.
You're not looking for a motion for this today, right? Okay.
And I just, I've heard about the community school also, and I watched 6 webinars over the last week. I went to all the websites I could and found that Manchester, New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken, and I was in the right place, is the only school that has been involved in this. The rest are California or New York and nowhere here. So maybe I didn't get it all, but what I did get of it, anytime I feel firmly on this, that we go to change anything that may look like we're changing our public school in any direction, and I'm not saying we are or we are not, we need the people, our community, to be in on this. And I did not know anything about it. I saw that, we had, Lacey was on the list, Bill Mandy was on the list, we had our welfare agent on the list. I ran into Bonnie accidentally and she said, I don't know what that is. So I agree, and anytime a grant comes in, the application in its entirety should be given to this board before we do anything, because sometimes grant free isn't always free. And we have a strong message sent to us about the budget, right? The people in this town said no, and they put it down. So we need to listen to them, and before we put positions in, I wanna see what the need is, I wanna see the data, I wanna see the 200 pages or 500 or whatever you have. I never wanna make a decision for our children, number one, and our community, number two. That would be something that's gonna cost big money in the end and not see the result. I am focused, and I'm gonna tell everybody out there, the academics and the education of our children. I know everything else is important, but we have things in place. And we need to get back to math and reading right now. So that's all I'm gonna say on that, and Meredith, go ahead and feel free to come in if you like.
Yeah, so first of all, there is no request for the board to approve anything. We're making you aware of it because the application deadline was happening before this meeting, so we wanted to at least pursue the opportunity, which is why Mary presented all the information to you. If that grant is ultimately awarded, we'll be happy to give the board the opportunity to decide whether or not it wants to accept that donation, as we do with other donations. With respect to the community school grant, I'm not sure really what all of the hype has been about. We were clear last year about the $150,000. That $150,000 came with particular instructions and requirements. That grant application wasn't provided, and I apologize for that, but that hasn't been something that has been done historically. You'll note that we did make that change. You'll be talking to Seacoast Youth Services about a grant that they're applying for. That $150,000 was used to support preschool outreach and development by and large, with the goal of improving academic achievement. That's very clearly how it's written. Where the idea that somehow we've turned into a mental health clinic or that we're hiring a psychiatrist, I'm not sure where that's coming from.
On this grant, this is for psychiatrists.
It's not for a psychiatrist.
Psychologist, or counselor, or social worker, or other clinician.
Okay, psychologist, I'm sorry, a psychologist.
We
It's
have-
not for academics. It's for mental health.
Because
So-
it's student support services, right?
Correct, and I think most of the educators who are in this room and the community providers who are in this room who work directly with children would tell you that if they're not available emotionally to access their learning, that they're not going to learn and make the progress that you want them to make. That's why we're looking for that outreach, because we do have a need here, whether people want to hear it or not. You can ask our principals who are dealing with social, emotional, behavioral issues every day, to the point that they are exhausted and emotionally overwrought. Our teachers are dealing with those issues every single day to the point that they are exhausted and emotionally overwrought. It is very taxing. So I can appreciate that the community didn't want to fund that. I don't think that precludes us from looking at other alternatives, and the board can, again, and the community can certainly say no. But I think I'm doing my job for children when I look at opportunities, and I work with my team to look at opportunities to best serve the children in this community so they can reach the academic goals we want them to achieve, that we all want them to achieve.
I just feel like we need to put a hold on the community school till we have more information.
There is no community school application. As a
No,
matter of
it's
fact,
the
the
Department of
US
Education.
Department of Ed has not posted it for 24. It's likely that there won't be one. There was in 23, and the reason why Manchester had, this was the second time applying, there hasn't been another school district to win the award in New Hampshire. This was the first time. So, you know.
The planning grant was sponsored by UNH and directly targeted to small schools who had a significant percentage of students who were eligible for free and reduced lunch, because they were identified as a population as in significant need. And in the past, the community meant that the
full-service community schools model has not been available to smaller and rural schools. So UNH was awarded this grant to really target that preschool development. It was targeted originally, the RFP was for birth to 8, to really support children coming into preschool and kindergarten ready to learn. And that is the work that Patrice has been doing this year. And again, if the board will recall, the $150,000 was largely, more than half of that was to fund the position that was required through the planning grant to be the coordinator. So again, those funds expire at the end of this year. There's no further action planned beyond continuing to build on the supports and the outreach that we've already done with the community, which is the feedback that we're receiving is that parents of those preschool-age children, those families who are accessing those supports are finding it valuable, and we expect that we will see it in academic outcomes when the students are registering for kindergarten and taking our kindergarten assessment.
So there's no future Zoom meetings coming up anytime soon about the community school?
There probably are, because we're required until the grant period ends to continue to conduct those meetings and submit a report. And those funds expire in June, and our last report, I believe, is due in June.
That's correct. We have a report coming up soon, and then we'll have another one in July as well.
Well, that's what this
Yes, and the individuals that you're talking about who were invited to the stakeholder update meeting are the same stakeholders who signed on to the grant initially and gave their commitment to support the grant, for us to submit the grant. That's a requirement of the grant, is that we have community support. Because the notion behind this work is that we release teachers from the obligation to be everything to everybody. And we bring in our community partners, Glenn, Vic, and Janine, who are here, and we ask them if they can help support us so that some of those things around student support can be handled. We can do more after school and before school tutoring. We can think about how can we use summers, how can we use vacation academies to accelerate learning? How can we use these community partners to come in and help us propel teaching and learning, and let the teachers do what they do best, which is teach, and move some of those other things off their plate and out of the way. It takes resources, it takes time, it takes a lot of work to do that. And so that's what full service community schooling is about. It's very unlikely that we would even have the bandwidth to lift an application like that. It's probably 300 pages worth of work to do it. We wouldn't be able to do it on our own, that's for sure. We knew that going in. I mean, Brian and I, and now Colleen, we've talked about this at length. It's very unlikely that we will be in a position to do even what Manchester did, because they have a whole team that's dedicated to, grant facilitation and grant acquisition. We don't have those kind of resources. We may be able to partner with, United Way or another agency who could do the heavy lift somewhere down the road. But what I will say very strongly is I'm sorry for the misinformation and miscommunication, but we can't do any of it without community-wide support. That all of this is contingent on the community, on the board, feeling strongly that this is the right direction for the Seabrook community. It can't be what Brian wants or Colleen wants or what I want. It has to be what the community thinks is in the best interest of children and of closing those persistent gaps of achievement. You've been talking about that all year. We hear you. We feel exactly the same way. We want to use those levers that we know work and close those persistent gaps of achievement. And we have some anecdotal information already just from the winter NWEA MAP scores to show that we are doing extraordinary gap closing already just between fall and winter of this year. The achievement isn't where it needs to be. The growth is high for many, many students. And we have data to show that proves that. So SAS is coming, fingers crossed we're gonna see that jump and it's going to evidence itself there, but we know what the levers are that are going to do that. This might not be an option for us. We've learned a lot, I think Brian would agree. This has been a good use of that $150,000 of learning, of starting a playgroup for children from birth to age 4, where Patrice and her colleagues are seeing upwards of 16, 17, 18 children, babies a week, coming in with parents who are in parent education groups, who are learning about how to regulate very young children, how to get them ready for preschool.
Mary, what are we doing about the middle school? What are we doing about the 7th and 8th graders that can't read?
I absolutely agree.
No, absolutely. That's all we are here. Every meeting is about preschool. We have middle school.
This particular grant was focused on birth to age 8. That's the reason why that's where it went. And it does not negate what you're saying about seventh and eighth graders.
And sixth, and fifth.
And fifth, with all of them. We can't afford to lose any child slip through the cracks. They all need to be learning at grade level. They all need to be. And we are working on that too.
But we have lost them. I mean, these kids are, what are we gonna do? So I love what you're saying, I get it, but I'm a community member, I'm active, I haven't heard anything about any of this. What board member was involved, if any? What community member?
The vice chair of the board was involved in
Who
the
was
planning
that?
for the grant.
Who?
Forrest Carter was involved as part of the.
In this grant, he hasn't been on the board.
He was on the board at the time that we planned for this.
So-
This is over a year ago.
So you didn't appoint Forrest to that committee?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so, and I'm just gonna share this in future as a board, I hope that if we are going to be a part of anything like that, that we as a board help one another to come together and decide who will be sitting on that, because that kind of explains a lot, and I appreciate it.
We had 4 weeks, and 1 week of that was February vacation. That's all we had in a timeline to get it in.
But this
It was
board
very
needs-
short. Yeah.
Other meeting since.
There's been other meetings, I asked for a copy of the grant, I haven't seen it. I think Rhonda was gonna try to get me a copy of it.
It was emailed to you today.
Today.
Yeah.
And if there's any minutes, I looked on the website, when you go to minutes and agendas, there's nothing there.
It's not a board committee and it's not a public
Yeah,
facing committee that's required to keep minutes.
no, not required, but it would be nice to be able to see it, so, okay. So I think we've heard you, and, I think we all are, concerned, have a lot of concerns, so if everybody is ready, we'll move on to the next, report, the Seabrook Elementary School principal.
February was a very quick month, and a lot of the things I have highlighted here have been included. Kudos to our teachers and our students for putting together an awesome exhibition night. I know we've mentioned that a few times, but to see almost every single family come into our school with pride in classrooms and smiles, and the pizza helps a little bit, and the books. And this year we also had the Girl Scouts. We had a number of other partners that were there in showcasing their commitment to our school. So thank you to our teachers and our students for doing that. Girls on the Run is back. We are searching for girls who are interested in running. It's an awesome program, really, to support the girls in our community. So if you're interested in that, please check out my Sunday messages or reach out to us. And the last thing I wanted to share, on March 12th, middle school and elementary school worked together. We had a training on family engagement and how we can build strong relationships with families, meeting their needs where they are. And it was really an awesome day for our schools to work together to talk about how much we already do and how we can continue to support families. And then 2 quick donations that I want to recognize. Aroma Joe's in Seabrook, the new Aroma Joe's donated a drink to every teacher, and also $315, which is going to our student activities. And RJB Auto in Hampton donated $200 so that our 4th graders could go to the play at Winnicott. So that specifically went in our kiddos in Winnicott to see the play.
The Girls on the Run, I just got the flyer today from the school on that, and I just wanted to know that the lottery ran out on March 8th, 2024.
So
And there's still some openings, but the other thing I wanted to mention on that, 3rd through 5th, that program runs 3rd through 8th. And I'm just curious to why we're not like trying to do the 6th through 8th, because it is a program for 3rd through 8th. So you don't have to answer me right now.
Heart and Soul is actually a different program.
You didn't know
The older
that?
program,
Yeah.
the older program isn't as popular, and it's not as common in the state. Typically, Girls in the Run is the more popular. The Heart and Soul program is amazing, and if we can build a team that leads to
Yeah.
that probably would make sense.
I think it's good if we can kind of partner together to give all the kids the opportunity, because there may be some runners out there that would like to be a part of it in some way, or the Heart and Soul way. So,
I would just say they do have the opportunity at the middle school to participate in cross-country and track, which they don't have at the elementary school. And part of the research behind starting that program in 3rd through 5th grade is that developmentally that is when girls tend to have the greatest sort of self-image challenges tend to start there, and so it's to prevent those.
I'm not to say that they don't persist into middle school, but I think there are other opportunities and not to get that ahead of you.
Okay, so, any questions? No. Seabrook Middle School principal report?
Hello, welcome and congratulations to the new board members and welcome back to the previous board members. I want to congratulate the 3 students who spoke on behalf of the school. We've been working on this for a while, so it's nice to hear their voice and get their perspective, and I think these ladies did a fabulous job, so I wish my daughter had a budget class when she was in middle school. That certainly would have helped me out a lot. Lot going on, like Brian said, it was a short month, but it was pack-filled. Hopefully you were able to read through everything that we sent to you. We're excited UNH is partnering with 7th and 8th grade students. We have some scientists, we're gonna come, and we're gonna have lunch with the scientists. Thank you to Lauren DeConstant, who's helping facilitate that. Kids can, choose an area of science they're interested in, and, hopefully we can match them up with the scientists. And they can have a nice little lunch together. I know 5th grade wasn't mentioned, but I would like to mention by the girls that they dissected owl pellets, pretty smelly, across the school. They thought it was a really cool thing to do, and they had to categorize, identify bones, so we love when they have those opportunities to do like some hands-on real experiences in school. Shout out to Mr. Woolley, who helped to facilitate the Clemency Duo and the chamber singers and jazz ensemble from Winnicott High School are just next level. They are phenomenally talented students who attended this school, several of them. So, and then the last thing is, it's really nice for students to have voice. We have student government now. They had expressed interest in being an officer or representative for their grade level. They could write a speech, they could present to their peers. I was able to see a couple of them. They knocked it out of the park. It's really hard to get up in front of their peers and, speak about why should you elect me. So really appreciate that happening. They proposed to me the first in-school dance, because apparently they haven't had a lot of those here. They go to the rec, and they don't want to go to the rec, they want to have a dance here. They had a great proposal. Ms. Bombardier was a little nervous about that. But I listened to them. They've got costs figured out, food, chaperones. So I look forward, ladies, to the next meeting when they will kind of work out what will that look like in the spring and celebrating that. And hopefully you saw the great pictures of Dress-A-Like Dead. The teachers enjoyed dressing like students. So applaud them for that.
Okay, any questions? And the next is finance.
Thank you, and welcome to the new board members. You will quickly realize that this is the best portion of the board meeting, most interesting. So I have included the fiscal year-to-date expenditure and revenue reports. Those are loaded on the board docs. There's no significant variance from last month. We're currently tracking to finish the year with approximately $250,000 in available funds and about $50,000 in surplus revenue. So that would result in an unreserved fund balance of approximately $300,000. As you know, the unreserved fund balance is returned to the town, and that offsets tax assessment. I will note, however, I always give the caveat that we do still have 3.5 months remaining in the fiscal year, so we could incur additional unanticipated costs. We could receive unanticipated revenue, and that could potentially affect that final unreserved fund balance number. So, as you're aware, we do have the official results from last year's election. The proposed operating budget did fail, so we'll be operating under the default budget for fiscal year 25 next year. So as part of that process, the board will need to approve a new operating budget, and that will be with the adjusted default number, which is approximately $319,000 less than our proposal. So, the FY '25 budget is actually included as an agenda item, to be for the board's consideration later in this meeting. We do have a proposal for the board to review. There's not, an urgency to it. I mean, the election was just last Tuesday. We worked with principals and the administrative team to come up with this proposal just yesterday. So we don't expect you to have an answer for us this evening. You certainly can review and approve this at this board meeting, or you could defer it until the April board meeting. But we do need to act on that budget and have a new revised budget. So, despite the budget failing, we are very happy that the CESPA collective bargaining agreement did pass. Have passed in all our districts. As you know, it needs to pass across the board. This was such an important warrant article that addresses competitive salaries and benefits. And we do hope that with this new contract, it'll help us to hire and retain our educational associates going forward for the next 4 years. Additionally, the social worker warrant article failed. The roof warrant article did pass. The child benefits services citizens petition article failed, and the withdrawal from the SAU article did pass. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of the Seabrook residents who came out and voted. It's so important for the community to get out there and vote and voice their opinion. So thank you all.
Is the board okay, and I'm just suggesting, Lacey and I really haven't had a chance to see the budget plan, and probably the board. Do you mind if we table that so that we can look at what they've come up with for the next meeting? Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay?
I agree.
So I would just note, you'll have to make a decision if that next meeting, to the extent it involves personnel,
Yeah.
the renewal deadline is.
That gives
10
us
days
that
later.
little bit of time to look at it. We'll have it on the agenda for.
So would you like me to present the proposal and then you just won't make you won't make any action this evening? Or I can just hand you the proposal and you
Present
can,
it, at least then we can take that home, everyone digest it.
Yeah.
or I can just hand you, I have hard copies, I can just hand it to you and you can review and we can revisit next month. So totally up to you.
Yeah. Hard
I can
copies
email
are
it to
fine,
you.
and then we can go over it at the next meeting. Is that all right? Okay. All right. All good? That's all right. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so is it okay to move on to facilities, and you can pass out the papers, or?
Great, yes.
Okay.
So our facilities director included his maintenance report, has all the kind of basic maintenance items, happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions on facility? For now, we can move on to.
Just making sure we're clean permits.
Yeah.
Double dip it.
So the next thing is, the continuing business for the school board goals. I know that, we're, two of us are new.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can kind of push that, table out a little bit for now, and maybe look at a, retreat at some point with each other, so that we can kind of look at the goals, measurable, maybe a few plans like we used to do years ago. It really helps, and it helps the administrators too, I think, to know that we're all what we're feeling. So how do you feel about that? Move that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move that, table that for the next round, and then, correspondence received.
There's no attachment for that for this meeting, to the other items that were said, and
Okay.
we're not able to include that.
Okay. And then, we're gonna table that next one. Okay.
What was that?
So move this, the operating budget there. We're going on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I like having a piece of paper because these things move around pretty rapidly here, but for now. So that's gonna be tabled, right, C? Okay. And then new business, acceptance of gift, Water Street Bookstore.
So we have 3 gifts on the agenda for you, and if you're okay, I'm happy to just identify all of them and you can approve them as one motion. Yeah.
Works for me.
So Water Street Bookstore, sorry, waiting for that to load. $1,000 to purchase books for elementary students to take home during the summer. Loading slowly. Another $1,000 from the PTO to benefit those middle school chorus and band program. And then $1,000 from the Rotary Club to benefit the 8th grade student activities funds. So I think they already mentioned that one when they spoke earlier, but we do have that one in the agenda with the other sports for the next week.
I make a motion to accept the 3 gifts as noted.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, second.
Who seconded that?
All in favor? Policies. Is everybody, I mean, we haven't even seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would like to table this.
The only thing I do want to mention is that we have already voted, I think it was October. I don't recall, yeah, actually, right here, October 2023. We voted on the class sizes. I don't know if we don't remember, we didn't read them correctly or whatever, but when I went to the policy meeting to fill in last time, there was discussion on the reason we wanted to bring it back up was because of the class sizes being 20, K through 2nd grade is 20 students per class, but then grade 3 through 8 is 25 students per class. Yeah, so I
That's the
do,
maximum 25.
and, you know, there's been kind of talk here and there from people that the classes seem to be a little chaotic, to say the least. I don't know if I should make a motion today, but I definitely, we can wait to the next meeting, so everyone can read over everything, but I definitely think we need to revisit the class sizes.
The class sizes for the state, I thought which one you want, but what is the 1 to, what is the ratio on that?
It's 25 is very at the state.
So that's very high, and given the fact of the, again, the academics, that would be absolutely harmful to the teachers, the kids, the school. So, that one right there is a biggie. What do you want to do with it?
I mean, I was gonna make a motion, but I wanna give you guys time.
I don't need to read that. I mean, I'm fine, that class size is huge, and I would want to have, before that was done anyways, I would have wanted to hear from teachers and the administrators and all that, so 25 is a lot. And right now, I didn't think we were 25.
I don't think we're at 25, but I'm just thinking like if we capped it at like 16 or 17,
Yeah.
and then approval from the board for anything additional, that gives the teachers.
I think we should let the teachers speak on it as well.
Exactly.
Because they're the ones in the discussion.
Exactly.
Okay.
I just have a question for you. Can you remind me how the policies like reads, like first read, everyone reads them?
Yeah, right, there's no
Anything, there's no action on the first read.
Right.
Everyone then, the next meeting will be the second read, correct?
If the second read,
Is
like, if
adoption.
we don't, since you guys are tabling the first read, they're gonna appear this way all marked up as a first read the next time,
Okay.
because you're tabling the first read. But if the first read is where you need to let us know if you want any changes, because when it comes in the second read, it's in the final format to be approved.
Gotcha, so, yeah, we will table this first read, come with any of our suggestions for these first read. We have to be more proactive with our policies. I can admit that I had fault with some of these, probably not following the way it was supposed to be, and some things have slipped through the table. You get a long list, it's on each board member to read through them, come with our suggestions, so that when we see something, we don't say that we're blindsided by it. Like, we'll all go through these on the first read. For next time, it'll be tabled for this one, so.
And then I just wanted to mention one more thing, if no one else has anything to say about the class size.
Keep in mind that we also have listed for you in the administrative content, that just shows you what the priority required by law policy, that, and when the change was made That's all in there for you, to kind of like summarize it, to make it a little easier for you to see why it's there.
Thank you, Mom. Easy, Mom.
Not quite. Not quite.
I don't see it on here, but I remember noticing when I was going through the policies that we approved back in October a no suspension policy, and I don't remember doing that. I don't know if somebody else did. I don't see it here.
You don't have a no suspension policy. If you did, both of your principals would have been violating.
Well, no, I understand that, that's why I will find it, but there was one that said that there was a suspension policy that was terminated in October. I don't know if it was one that was just edited and then we created a new one. I'll have to find it, but I did, because I printed it out. All right,
Next meeting.
I'll find it, yeah, sure. It might have been edited or something, but I just want to show that.
I need to follow up to that. Somebody asked me about public comment, but we already did it. We can have it again at the end. Do you want?
It seems like the teachers want us.
Yeah. Do we want it, does anybody have a problem with, letting, get a couple of people that want to speak during policy? I don't know what you guys usually do, so, and I'm new tonight. What do you want to do?
Yeah, people can speak whenever they want.
You have a closed public comment,
Okay, Shay. Okay, so go ahead, just say your name.
Okay, so my name is Alyssa Dow. I'm a teacher here at Seabrook. I teach 6th grade language arts. I would like to go back to the budget. I know that you guys said you'd like to table it. I would like to seek some clarification. You received some proposals on how to make up some funds that are lost. And I wanted to be clear, does the public have access to what the proposals are, number one? Number two, knowing that information, you will read it, get the proposals, have your next meeting, have to vote during that meeting without the public having a chance to digest that, what those proposals are. I highly suggest that you go over those proposals to share what's there. There's a lot of uncertainty for our staff. We don't know what's gonna happen, where we're going. It's a lot for us, and it's scary. You know, and it would be good, I think, to go over that and not table it because of the time frame, and to help us.
So wasn't there meetings today where it was announced what the cuts were gonna be?
A 15-minute meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure that, because.
Yes,
sure,
and I feel like it should be something that
They got a little
the
bit of
public is aware
information,
of.
and I think maybe we should let them have it all, maybe? I think she's right.
So if I can make a suggestion, we can go back to the budget, we'll have Matt do his proposal so everyone can hear it. I suggested that we take this proposal home with us, and then we'll have all of our decisions made by next meeting. The public can hear and see what their proposal is, that way they can digest it, and then we can all come in prepared to go. We have a month to look over everything. I think that is probably necessary. I didn't quite realize there was. I should have, but there was this much, I had heard that people had heard stuff already, so I didn't know that it wasn't out. So I would definitely go back to Matt, refer back to Matt to give his proposal in public.
I apologize, we don't want to
sorry.
be easy about that.
Realize it either.
Thank you, just so there's clarity and we can feel.
That's only fair.
Thank you.
We will
Always
appreciate
feel
it.
Thank you, because I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was gonna say the same thing. I think that we should at least hear it.
Okay.
I was too.
Kathy.
I know that voice, but I don't see her.
Okay, sorry. Hi, my name is Maria McCusker. I'm a town resident and I'm a teacher at the middle school. I want to let the school board know that you have all failed us and the town of Seabrook by not selling the budget to the public. So now, we, all of us here, have even less to try to do all the things that you want us to do. You did not educate the public, and it's on you.
Next. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. You wanna move to let Matt, okay. Matt, you wanna go ahead and go over
Yes.
the areas?
So as we had mentioned earlier, since the proposed operating budget did fail at ballot, the Seabrook School District operating budget will be funded at the default budget level for next year. So for FY '25, that amount is $17,661,175. That is $319,321 less than our proposed operating budget. So as part of that process, the school board is responsible for approving a new budget that reflects that bottom line number, the default budget bottom line number of 17.6. So as I mentioned, we did work with both the elementary and middle school principals to prioritize potential reductions. We really felt that we need to bring forth a plan that we felt would have the least impact on student learning, while also being cognizant of and incorporating some of the feedback that we heard from both the school board and the community regarding the budget during this budget process that we just completed. So with that being said, we are recommending a number of budget adjustments to reduce the total to that $17.6 million amount. I'll also note that for the 3 members of the board that went through the budget process, this was a lean budget already. We put a lot of work into bringing forth a budget that we felt was palatable and we could bring forth to the community that they could support. So this is really cutting deep, and when you're looking at $300,000+, you can't. There's only so much you can cut from our discretionary, supplies and books and materials accounts. Typically, when you're looking at that type of a deficit, staffing is affected. So, and usually multiple staff members. So our proposal is to adjust next year's school start time so that the elementary and middle school have staggered starting and ending time. This actually was something that we were looking at previously before the budget failed, because we'd heard from both the school board and the community concerns about elementary students and middle school students on the same buses. We also experienced a high volume of behavioral issues on buses. So that was something we were already exploring. So what we're suggesting is we stagger those start times. There'll be about a 45-minute differential between the elementary and middle school. That means that the one school will be ending 45 minutes after the other as well.
So I have a child in elementary and a child in middle school, and that's, we gotta figure something else. That is not.
And I think addressing the behaviors on the bus, we don't need to be changing school times. I think we need to just hold kids accountable. Because we definitely can't continue to pay 3 bus monitors that we're paying that are not in the budget, that we've been paying on account and payroll. We're paying 3 bus monitors and it's only 1 approved in the budget. I think that the bus drivers are gonna have to submit the pink slips that they usually do. And the kids are gonna have to follow the bus rules. I don't think changing the whole schedule.
Ooh, Kelly, I just want to say one thing on this. So a start time is a big deal. And I know at Winnicott, we did change the high school times, but it was a overtime change, and it was for the whole high school when we adjusted the morning, and it was a lot of data, and it was a lot of meetings and community. That right there is a big hit for a single group to make a decision like that. That is a biggie. So I think
That's a lot more in-depth than just,
yeah, we're
to
gonna
say
do
two bus routes.
no. Yeah, I think that's that definitely, so what do you say to that, sharpen the pencil, cause that's kind of a serious, that's a big thing. That's gonna take more than 5 minutes here. This is the first time I've seen this, so I apologize, but that is a jump out at you look. So,
We've been short buses anyway, so.
yeah, that's, the start time and changing time takes a lot of,
Put a lot on the parents.
a lot.
And the teachers, they have to change their whole schedule.
So this is a proposal, and it's
Okay.
ultimately it's up to the board to
Good.
make the decision.
Right.
I would suggest that we have Matt go through the whole proposal, since
Okay.
we're not gonna plan on making.
Sorry, I was
No,
just
no, I'm not trying to stifle anyone from their opinion on anything. I
It
just
was
want
just a
everyone.
shocker.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
but they need to-
get all the information, and then we'll have this month to sit down and come up with our proposals to send in via email and come up with ideas. Because after this meeting, our phones are gonna be ringing off the hooks, emails are gonna be flowing, we're gonna have to figure out what works. I mean, we're missing $370,000 out of the $319,000 from last year. And it is what it is, and, you know, as a board member, I feel like I put out the message to try to get things passed. I don't operate in Facebook land, and I know that that's where some people want to see where my support is in this fake world of Facebook, but I'm pretty active in the community, and I talk to people at the rec center and everything. Everyone got so hyper-focused on this one social worker position that maybe they didn't quite focus on the budget. But that's also another thing that people have been complaining for years and years now about the education system in this school. And people felt that it was time that we have to take the pencil back out and not just give the check mark for a budget. And this is what we've gotten to at this point. We're gonna have to make cuts. That is a fact. Cuts, changes are gonna have to happen. So I think we go through the proposal, we all come up with our ideas to try to find where this $320,000 is gonna come from. But this is what the voters wanted, so this is what we have to do. Whether we got the word out or not, we wanna play the blame game. Facebook isn't where you get things done. At the rec center, and at the senior center, and at the grocery store, and at the ball fields, that's where I operate. So I do apologize if people think that I'm not speaking out enough, because I'm not on Facebook arguing with the masses here, but I do support the budget. I sat down and helped write the budget, and I helped talk to people saying that this is what will happen if we don't pass it. Money is gonna have to come out, and this is where we are. So this is the reality. The voters have spoken, and now we're gonna get down to this new budget and figure out what's gonna work best for us.
Matt, do you have, any more information on this that we could get while we're making our decision the next month, while we're researching all of this? Do you have any more proposals, like something in writing that we can see, elementary starts at 8, middle will start at 8:45? This is kind of the transition so that we understand the decision that we're making?
Yeah, we can absolutely put together a little framework
I
that would
appreciate
look like.
that, thank you.
I think that'd be good for you.
The more information, the better.
Yeah.
I mean, the basic framework would likely be the elementary school would be at its current school day, that would not change. The middle school would be 45 minutes later. That's a basic framework, but I understand that.
I mean, my son would love it, but he can sleep in, but I appreciate that.
And we fully appreciate the concerns that were just addressed. We also share those concerns. We share the concern as far as how it may affect staffing as well. Because it's not only, it's the families, it's the students, but it's also a big change for the teachers and our staff. So it's not a decision to make lightly. So the second item that we're proposing is a restructure of the middle school unified arts schedule, so that the physical education educator will also teach the health curriculum. This is a pretty common model, and that would mean the reduction of the health teacher, and that's $149,447. We're proposing the reduction of our books account by $7,000. That brings the account to $50,265, which is roughly in line with what our current FY24 budget is. And we're also proposing to reduce the supplies account by $7,355, which brings the account to $59,447. That's actually, even with that reduction, it's a slight increase over this current FY24 budget. So those are 4 items. However, as you noted, you can please send me any ideas that you may have. Be happy to provide you any information that you may want or need in order to mull over and look at these decisions. They're not easy decisions. There's no we don't want to make any reductions, right? But I'd be happy to provide any information that you need over the next month, because it's going to be a tough decision for the board to make. It was a tough decision for us to bring forth this proposal, because there's no reductions that are positive. Right?
One suggestion I can make that you can put into your proposal, or people to think about. I know we pay $35,000 of SAS money, who's been on a federal grant. We're looking to support in-school money, and I understand SAS is a wonderful program. I have nothing against SAS, but after school doesn't necessarily take precedence before in school. So I would like to see something with potentially having them go back to being full grant funded.
So any of those items, it's that you're totally at the board's discretion.
I'll put that in an email.
Can you explain that just a second, though? This is no longer an ACER fund, it's in the actual budget for this coming year?
This year,
So this current FY24 year, it's being funded via ESSER. For FY20, so next year's budget, we budgeted $35,000 as the school's contribution to the SAS program.
So the grant.
The grants.
So-
Our portion of it is
Yeah.
going to be funded through the ESSER. It's now rolled into the operating.
So along with that, as a board member, I'd like to say this, I feel strongly that things like this for nonprofits, because they have last annual $400,000 budget for themselves for that program. And I had asked maybe charge if there's people that can afford to pay, and I said that over a year ago, and I haven't seen any movement. And to force the taxpayers, when Vic Malone's sitting there and every year is at the mercy of the taxpayers to know whether or not he gets funding from the taxpayers and all the other groups that are with you. So I think that probably bringing this in line with that also is a good idea moving forward, because it's a tough thing to start funding nonprofits a lot too. It's in the regular budget, and they voted no, so now we're starting saying, okay, now.
I believe this is one of the things that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, I didn't realize it. It is,
It's a reality that we have to fund the school itself.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
So I have a question about, I'm not even sure if it's up, I had heard that, well, a lot of people had heard, and it was even confirmed to me that the health teacher was going to be moving. Have you heard that? No? Okay, well, either way, if she does, that position would be open anyway, but when it says physical education educator, that would be the gym. Okay, so that's a male?
Yes.
So he would be teaching the young females hygiene and health.
Right now, there's legislation pending that
I'm
the
just
school nurse
asking.
would have to teach that.
Just
I know,
asking.
I'm just saying, right now, there's legislation pending that the school nurse would have to teach
Yeah.
that. So I don't know who will be teaching health, if health is even
I know the
still
nurses
permitted
have so
in
much
school.
time they can teach health.
Right.
Let's just add it to the nurse.
I think that, kind of piggybacking on what Kelly said, schools figure it out. They figure out how to have those certain sections where a female teaches part and a male teaches part, and I'm sure within our school community that if we have to, that we can find that support for our kids to be separated, because there's some things you just can't discuss with both.
Right.
So, thank you. Thank you. Is everybody okay with that?
Good.
Any more questions? We're good. Okay, oh, go ahead.
And just so that the public's aware, I will post that document, or I'll have that document posted on DocuSign with the minutes.
Or
So,
He's so used to talking.
I literally just emailed Maria Lacey about DocuSign.
Okay, so it'll be available to the public if anybody wants a copy of that. You can have it. Now, I just want to ask a quick question before we finish here. Where the board has spent so much time going through that budget initially, is there a little bit before a regular meeting that we might want to have like a little time to budget review with Matt, and then go into the meeting and decide what we're gonna do, or do you just wanna have him come in and tell us and just get it done? What do you wanna do?
I just don't know what a lot is about.
Still a meeting, non-public? It's still a meeting, it's not non-public.
So we have to schedule an emergency meeting to make a public meeting to have budget review, kind of like how we did the last budget review.
Yep, and we'll wanna make sure we can have our camera person available, and that's something the board
So,
will
let's maybe shoot for in 2 weeks, so we
Oh,
have
you wanna do that? Okay.
2 weeks, schedule an emergency meeting for budget review. And then when we come into the next meeting, we can approve whatever the new budget is. Does that sound reasonable and fair to everybody?
Yeah. And this doesn't fall under non-meeting, anything with the budget?
It does not.
It does not, okay, just making sure. Okay, yep, so whatever's good for all of you, you just say the word and we'll make it happen.
So during the week, like before this, if we have questions, Matt, like certain positions and, you know, what the salaries are and if there's contract renewals, can we email that to you?
You can
I mean,
email
can we
it to me,
ask it?
absolutely, and
Okay.
I'll respond to the entire board
Yeah,
with the
perfect.
information.
Yep, good.
Good.
So, and then I do think it might be helpful to have a special, just budget dedicated
Just a little
position,
bit
just,
before.
I mean,
Before April 8th is the.
I'm just trying to get another budget meeting in, 'cause I love.
Yeah, we're gonna-
I haven't had enough yet.
Yeah, because the next meeting is April 9th. I'm available April 2nd.
Okay,
Yeah, see,
we'll make it, what time? 4:30?
April 2nd, that's a Tuesday?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Beautiful. All
You said
right.
at 4:30?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we wanna go on, are we ready to move along?
Yeah, that's a lot of security cameras.
Okay, yep, security cameras,
Yes.
thank you.
So the bid process has concluded for the proposed security camera system replacement project. Bids were sent directly to 10 qualified vendors, 7 attended the walkthrough, and 5 submitted bids. So we are recommending award of bid to Citronics in the amount of $118,358 for that security camera system project. I'll also note that funding for this project is from the Stronger Connections grant, of that big security grant that we got back in the fall. It was primarily the cameras, but there were also some walkie-talkies that were part of that grant, so that was really a big win. I think I may have mentioned that there was a third round for the SAFE grant previously. We had received funding in the first 2 rounds, but we did not receive any additional SAFE grant funding, so, yes, so.
Make a motion to award the security camera system replacement project to Citronics for $118,358.
Second? Do you want a second?
I'll second it,
Okay.
yes.
All in favor? Okay. And then, next.
Passed.
You got it, and next is the, grant approval process.
Board asks for this item to be placed on the agenda.
So, this to do with what we were speaking about earlier about grants before they're just done, that they're brought to the board, is that?
Yeah, I wanted to make a motion that before any grants are applied for, that it comes before the board. And I actually forgot to put it on the agenda.
We have a second.
So you're, hang on a minute, you're making a motion, so let me make sure I have, because I didn't know that. So your motion is for,
My motion is that before any grants are applied for, in regards to Seabrook School or elementary school or anything that has Seabrook Elementary or Seabrook Middle School involved, mentioned co-applicants, is brought before the board for approval with all the details.
Do we have a second? So, any discussion on that?
who did the second?
I did, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, again, I certainly understand the board's concern. I would say that the practical reality of that is that you're gonna miss out on a lot of grant opportunities. For example, the third round SAFE grant was awarded in order submitted. If we had had to wait for a board meeting for that to be approved, you likely would not have received that funding. We have other districts that did not receive that funding because their award was not submitted in a timely manner. So I think the reality is you're going to wind up with fewer grants. I just want the board to be aware of that.
So with that said, we can call a meeting if we have to. If a big grant idea comes up and there's something that is time sensitive, I think that this board is very capable of pulling together, at least 3 of us, to help out with that if need be, because I think from what I've heard in the community over the last year, they love grant, everybody loves grant money, but sometimes grant money is not free. And in the end, it goes rolled into the taxpayers, and they are very tired of that. I have heard that over and over again, and I couldn't explain it, 'cause I'm not on the board. But moving forward, as long as you're all okay with it, if a grant opportunity comes forward, I'm sure that we can pull together to discuss it, so that we don't lose out on something that we shouldn't be losing out
All
on.
grants are at a specific monetary value? Like anything 20 and higher, or every single grant?
What's your suggestion? Do you?
Well, no, I'm just, if they pull, ask for a $5,000 grant for books, I don't wanna hold them.
Right.
But for these bigger grants that we discussed previously, that there's a lot of ins and outs about, we definitely need to know every single thing about them, these larger grants that we spoke about. But if it's a $5,000 grant that Colleen or someone can get for something like books or supplies, I'm all for it.
Yep.
But I agree with you 110%.
Yep. So supplies, on that.
So anything over
25,000.
25,000, that way all the small grants that,
Right. But anything that requires personnel or anything like that.
yes.
Are you good with amending that, Kelly?
I am.
25,000?
I am good with that.
So we, second on that, too, the amendment of the 25,000. Okay, are we ready to vote? All in favor? Seacoast Youth Services and ACER. You wanna come on up?
Yeah, so Jeff Benjamin are here along with Chief Walker to share some information with you.
Okay.
Good evening. Lacey and Maria, congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
I'm Brett Walker, I'm the police chief in Seabrook, and with me is Dr. Katie Godshall from the University of New Hampshire, and Shannon Richards from the Seacoast Youth Services. We're here to provide information about the Adverse Childhood Experiences Response Team, or ACER, that the Seabrook PD has implemented. We were asked to address the school board after we requested the school sign an MOU with the PD and other agencies related to ACER. The MOU would allow us to share information with the school regarding the work done by ACER. So, for a little background, the police department is constantly searching for ways to reduce crime and address issues such as the sale, use, abuse of illegal drugs, and generally reduce crime and improve the quality of life in the community. We often look at education
in the schools by the school resource officer as a means of educating our children at a young age and hopefully helping them make good decisions in their lives. Approximately 1 year ago, I attended an ACER presentation at the fire department, along with members of the school administration and various other social services in the community. I knew nothing about the program, but realized by the end of the presentation that ACER added another layer to the early intervention and actually addressed far more issues than I realized in children exposed to trauma. This program is being created under the police department for one reason: the information needed to respond and provide services to impacted children is gathered by our officers during the course of their normal duties. The officers' observations and reporting of the incidents they respond to is critical to the success of this program. And now I'll let Katie and Janine go a little more in depth.
Thank you for having us here tonight and taking the time to learn a little bit about the ACER team. I just provided a handout for you. It is 2 sides. The first side you'll see as what the actual process of the referral would be. Essentially, where it intersects with the school is the red circle at the very end. What the team would do is we would receive referrals from our officers. Essentially, if there is a child in the home, when there is a call made that potentially exposes the child to some sort of trauma, whether that's domestic violence, substance use, anything along those lines. And the idea behind it is to provide support to that child to reduce long-term effects that occur due to long-term exposure to traumatic events. Where we intersect is after the referral is received from the officers to the advocate in the social work department, we would connect with Seacoast Youth Services to discuss any different resources that are eligible in the community. And then we would reach out to the school to provide an FYI, kind of like a handle with care, to let you all know if there's any issues that might spring up over the next week or so, that this is an issue, an ongoing issue going on in the child's home. And while it's not an excuse for the behavior, it can be an explanation for the behavior, and allow some more informed interventions to occur to help them stay in the classroom to help increase their academic achievement. Do you want to add something to that?
No, I think where SYS intersects is we, as a partnership with the PD, would go visit with the family, identify any barriers that might be in place to them getting resources themselves, like why are we there to help? And then hopefully providing some protective factors so that this doesn't happen or continue to happen for the kids. What kind of prompted all of this is that in part of our partnership is we have a community MOU saying, like, as a community partner, so Seacoast Youth Services and the PD, when we find a family that is in need of some services and we want to do that soft handoff to area agencies, are those agencies ready to receive the family and be the ongoing provider of care? The PD doesn't stay involved, we don't stay involved, we are just like the liaison in this process. So in doing so, we asked the school district to sign the community MOU. We aren't looking for any information from you guys, we aren't looking for a continued relationship about these kids. All we're asking is permission to give you an FYI that this has happened and the child coming into your care in your school every day might be exhibiting some different behaviors and to be on the lookout.
Is there parental consent in all of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The consent
At
is
2
received,
points,
yes.
yeah.
The consent is received by the officers and again by the advocate.
So does this replace if there's an issue, so say you were called to a home and there was a domestic violence, and you were, or whoever, does that replace DCYF being notified as well, or do they still get notified like they normally would?
Absolutely notified.
Okay, so this is basically just,
Like a school liaison, so that the
Yeah,
school
so that
knows
they-
that something happened,
Right.
it's like how to
So
deal
we would
with
handle things the same way we always do. The officers would make the same notifications that they always
the
do.
mandatory reporting that you have to do. anyway.
Yep, so all of that stuff would stay the same. What is different is we're trying to make it easier for the officers to report it to the in-house social worker that we'll eventually have. Right now, Dr. Gottschall is doing that work. So she's reviewing our logs, she's taking referrals from the officers. But that's all secondary. Like for our officers, nothing will change. And for mandatory reporting, nothing's gonna change. These are all after the fact, getting the kids connected with services that can help them. And I believe Janine said it, the MOU that we're seeking is simply to provide you with the information. We want to be able to, you know, when there's consent given by the families, you know, we want to be able to provide the school with relevant information that can help the kids while they're here. Because, you know, the stuff that we're going to be providing to them is not going to be happening in the walls of the school. So it's important, we think, it's important for the school to have that information. But, you know, if the board decides not to sign the MOU, we just won't be able to provide it. We'll still provide the same services that we were intending to. We just won't be able to share that.
When you say in-house social worker, do you mean our in-house social worker
No,
at the school?
nope, at the police department.
Oh, you
They
have
have one,
one?
we have
Not, we
Oh,
will.
I,
That's one of my
Okay.
ads.
so that's kind of not happened yet though, right?
Correct.
And it's part of this MOU? Is
What's
it part of this MOU?
No.
That you'll have that
No,
person?
because
Oh.
so the in-house social worker for the police department
Okay.
will have nothing to do, it's not a replacement for the school, it's not.
Okay.
For us, it's gonna be part ACER and part, victim witness advocate,
Okay.
so.
And we'll have our own staff members with SYS, going out to the families with the PD. So it's not, we're not taking, it really, only
It's
for
just an
school
agreement
purposes, it's
between
really
us
just
for
to let you
sharing
guys
Just to
know.
communicate.
Just sharing communications.
So, yeah, so if a kid comes in and has a really hard day, there might be an explanation behind it, and having someone in the school know that would, really help the kid be more successful.
As the health officer in town, I deal with a lot of hoarding and other issues, so I would love to work with you as well, just to give you a heads up, because I usually work with PD with stuff like that, but I think that's really important.
And if you look at the sheet that Dr. Gottschall passed out, you can see the number of, I mean, I only looked at it, the list of, issues that can arise from those early traumas is, you know, far more than I realized, which was, you know, we looked at it, like I said, from crime deterrent and substance abuse, misuse, things like that, but realizing that it can impact, that addressing those early traumas can impact their learning, risky behavior, things like that, is actually an added bonus to where I initially thought things would go after the initial ACER meeting in the fire department.
We're playing the long game.
Yeah, and again, this has nothing, it doesn't impact, you know, it wasn't, the timing is odd, but it wasn't created or intended or dreamt to replace the social worker that the school, that was just voted out of the school. This is totally separate, it does a totally separate job. You know, it is not intended to replace that in any way, shape, or form.
Well, they wouldn't be doing other services here anyway, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do we get a copy of the MOU just so we can read over that? Is that something that?
So we had one, but I sent it to the town's attorneys for review, and
Yep.
there's a revision that we'll do.
Yeah.
So I'll send that to the whole board.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
program's not up and running
Yeah.
yet, so we're
Just-
still
just
working
you.
out the details.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Put it on the next,
Yeah.
for approval. Correct.
Wait till April.
So we'll put this on the agenda for the April meeting, is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, if you could give that to us so that we have it to look at. All right, keep up doing the good things, you guys have been around a long time.
So Denise's actually
I'm
here to
just
speak
gonna
about
stay.
another.
How many years? It's been a lot of years. Isn't it?
Okay, so the next thing, we wanted to talk about in the spirit of, letting you know ahead of time is the student assistance counselor that has been with Seabrook Middle School for, well, not the particular one, cause she's new, but the position has been, around 13 years. It's the student assistance counselor through JSI. It used to be through the Bureau of Drug and Alcohol Services. KSI has now taken it on. And
Like Mary spoke before, since we've been a recipient for the grant for 13 years, this is just a renewal. But in the spirit of being transparent, we wanted to, before we sought our renewal, because it does require a letter of commitment and some match in-kind funds from Seabrook District. So I gave you a really brief outline of what the SAP role is. And then on the backside is some data to show just from October to February how many kids and meetings and parent attempts and universal activities that Megan, the current SAP, has done at the middle school. We have to report all of this to the state so that we have some sustainability and are tracking with the data. So I'm here to kind of field questions and hopefully gain your support. Our renewal application is due April 1st. So we would like to support the position again. Again, it's not a school employee, but they are doing work in your school and have been for a number of years. They come work for us in the summer, do summer programming, so they get all of their supervision from us. Professional development and training right now is from us. So it's really, they're servicing your students and meeting the needs that you guys have, but under the umbrella of Seabrook Services.
So where were they doing the services prior to now?
They've been in Seabrook Middle School.
For 11 years. So we've received this grant every year?
Yes. So Seabrook Services is the recipient of the grant. We are the ones.
Right.
Yeah, and then you guys, as the school district that gets to have the service, has a 25% match. So in the past, it's been a cash 25% match. Now, we're just asking for in-kind funds. So professional development, space, I think Mary, we can talk about more details in terms of the match for the position now. But we're moving away from asking for actual monetary funds, more into in-kind funds.
There's some monetary funds from another grant that
So
needs to be
when,
applied.
I don't remember seeing this in the budget. This was never brought to us as reflecting in the budget.
This was funded via the ACER fund.
I've never heard this grant, and I've been on the board for 5 years. So this is concerning that we've been getting this for 11 years. But now we're being told that we've been getting this money, which is what, $106,000?
No, so I probably should have clarified that. So, Seabrook is seeking funding for 2 different SAP functions. So right now, Megan is acting as an SAP counselor, right? Does groups, counseling, prevention in classrooms, parent groups, things like that. What Mary was talking about is a much more overarching outreach, clinical framework. And that was the $106,000 grant. This, we're just asking for the $21,000 in kind and grant match funds.
So again, I can't speak for the history. This is renewed periodically with JSI, so you don't have to submit the full application.
We don't have to do the entire grant. I have to submit the letter of commitment to say that you guys are on board again, and then a budget outlining what our ask is and then how the match funds will be distributed. But we don't have to do the whole.
So we just talked about cutting a SAS after-school program. But we're going to, how much money would be funding on this? 21,000?
As Janine just explained, that's in kind. There's a little bit of a grant match.
Yeah.
The rest is coming out of, we let the person participate in professional development activities, we provide a space for them to work out of. It's a mutually beneficial, which I assume is why it's been in place for 11 years. There are a lot of students served by this individual. I think the middle school struggled to function without this additional person providing support to students on a daily basis.
Yeah, if you look at, I mean, the back that has the data, those numbers are pretty powerful in terms of how many students she's interacting actively and helping on a daily basis.
Your current school counselor was the person who served in this role previously.
For all of the years, right?
Yeah. Only since I've been here.
Yeah.
I just want to say a couple of things. I'm Vic Maloney, I'm the Director of Seabrook Youth Services, and we've been in town for 18 years. We've written close to $4 million of grants to help support the children going through the Seabrook School District. And most of these grants, through the Department of Education, or if it's New Hampshire, New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, they all look for the people receiving the money to donate a little bit of money in kind to make a commitment to the success of the program. And actually, the SAS program originated through our office, and it was a 25% match initially, with the understanding that the schools will take over those grants, because nonprofits can't support a big program like that by themselves. And I think the value, from what I'm hearing, there's trouble on the school buses, trouble in the classrooms, classes are getting bigger, the budget's getting smaller. You need strong community partners. We're right down the street. We've employed a lot of Seabrook residents. We're in the schools. I'm as committed to the success of these kids as probably anyone in the classroom. I went to school, went a parent with Seabrook kids, and the needs are here in the community. And that's why we can get these grant funds brought into the community. And for you to sit here and turn away money to help the kids, I don't understand it. I'm 69 years old, and I want to do this for 20 more years. I want to be in this community, and I want to make a difference. And I just don't understand it. So we want to bring in this grant. We want to help the kids. We have a licensed clinical mental health counselor that could probably go out and make $125,000 like snap and stitch, but she wants to be here. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. That's what, I don't know. I guess I'm confused. I'm getting old, I get confused. Please, help your kids. Help us help your kids.
So the person that we have here already, that's what this is for?
Correct.
Okay, so what has she been, she's been getting paid through what?
Because we have the grant this year. So
Right.
this is for a fiscal year.
Right.
Yeah. So we're good for this year, like, that's already been done. That's
Right,
our
but
goal.
where did that come from? Because this is the first time we've had this in front of us.
Well, I just
We
made that
probably
today.
brought
No, I know, but I'm
we
saying this
probably
grant
brought
in
it to school
general,
board.
we have never, as a school board,
Well,
known
13
anything.
years ago is
Yeah.
probably the first year, and it's been a simple renewal every year.
Right, but the school board, even when we have the budget, they still present grants to us, so when they do the budget, we're still aware of what funding we're receiving.
But that funding doesn't come to us, it goes
No, it
to
goes
to us.
us services. All that comes to us is the person, because they bring the person to us.
So the person that has been here under that grant has not received any taxpayers' money, no insurance, no nothing.
We pay
No,
their
we
insurance.
pay all the benefits.
It's,
It's
from what I
separate
gather,
than
it's
what-
their grant. They're just
Yeah.
asking our permission.
To have
To
it
help
here.
your kids.
Do I not have
They're
it
gonna
there?
use our,
Yeah.
because they're in our building, to provide the things under their funding. If I'm
With our
understanding. In kind, they're
Right,
using-
in kind meaning that
We're not
she
paying,
knows-
we're not paying this one specifically, this one, they're paying.
Correct.
Right, but where is she?
They're using our school, because they're helping our kids in school. Our contribution is giving them space and education.
Right, but where is she?
In the building,
Oh,
every
right.
day, Monday through Friday, and Haley, who is your current school counselor, was that person for the prior 11 years, I think, that just.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
quite a while.
5,
Our
6.
school counselors, but their person is in the building.
So we've had another counselor the whole time, but we didn't know that.
I knew that, but that position predated me.
I know, but during this whole election, and we knew we had one social worker, we've actually had two the whole time, and now it's Am I missing something? No. I'm not missing something. So we've had another social worker on top of what we already have without knowing that.
You've had another mental health clinician. I don't think anyone is trying to hide anything from you. That she's been on the front lines here every day, as Haley was since I started here, not even 3 years ago, and going back a decade before that. The demands are that high that.
We should have more social workers.
Yeah.
I mean, any other school would.
They don't then.
You know, It's a shame.
So the in-kind.
I'm sorry, I get cranky.
No, you're fine, it's
I
okay.
miss my 4:00 meds.
It's
so.
fine.
So the breakdown is, there's monetary value, but it's covered by a grant.
Yeah.
And do we know off the top of our heads of, like, an approximate number on
About
that?
$15,000.
Okay, and that's provided by a grant, and then the rest would be in kind, which would be
Classrooms,
okay.
professional development, supplies, like.
Okay. Okay, so it would be no. Wouldn't affect the tax rate. Correct. Alright,
So Vic, while you're standing there, just a quick question, because I'm familiar, we used to house our, safe harbor for a little while
Right.
until our selectmen decided they didn't want them and kind of shoot them out the door, but you were there for them.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that, but my question to you is there anything that you have to offer? We were looking at, different programs, I did not know we had this other person. Obviously during the election time, that would have probably helped, and it will help it eased me a lot knowing this, because I did not know this, so. Because we don't wanna cut mental health, right, because mental health is important, but at the same time, there's gotta be a balance for the academic piece and that, and I feel like and I know we have issues and we're focusing on it, but I feel like we have a lot in place, this just then says we have even more than what I knew. So, what I wanna say to you is, I know at the high school, when we used to have kids suspended, or kids that were having problems with behavior over and over and over again, they had a program there, so that the kids could go with you for a little bit, sometimes a day, sometimes a week, whatever. Do you still have that program in place? What is the ages for that program?
Right now, we have one 8th grader and gone through a bunch of high school kids.
So you service middle school age?
Looks like we're going to.
Okay, so I just asked that, because when we were at the high school doing it, we were 9th through 12th, so instead of suspending a kid at home alone for a week at the high school, we were able to send them over to your program, so that they were supervised, they were educated, they were not missing class time, so I just wanted to kind of ask you that, because, yeah, we have behavioral issues here, and it's a struggle, but I think we have a lot in place for our mental health, behavior, we have administration, we have a lot of things in place with the care, so, this is new, I did not know we have this in our schools. So, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, and I don't know what we're looking for space, you already have space here, I'm assuming you've been using?
There's shared space, but yes.
So I don't know what the board is thinking of this, because this is
I'm
new.
blown away that I didn't know, this is,
You didn't know.
no.
And you know, that's
I
something
didn't.
I hope moving forward for all of us, there's no surprises anymore, and that we are not sitting here and not knowing, because we need to know, because these are all our kids, and I'm sorry we didn't know.
Meredith, when we were at the budget meeting, you never once said, no, we don't have 2.5 social workers, we have 3.
She's really not a
I'm missing
social worker.
something.
She's not really a social worker, she does more prevention
So what is
services.
she, all right, so she's not a social worker, what kind of services does she provide?
Well, there's kids crying in the hallway,
So she's a guidance counselor?
she'll talk to them.
Yeah, she's
She's more aligned to the counselor than to a social worker, yes. It's not the, larger case management that a social worker would do. It's the individual or group, counseling that is referred by your teachers and by your administrators about kids that might need some extra support. She's not roaming the halls looking for crying kids. Like, these are referrals that are coming to her for a specific need, that she has goals to meet with those kids, and like, this is what we're gonna do in this group, and this is what's gonna be the outcome. She is a licensed clinical mental health, counselor, so she's not a guidance counselor, she has a lot of clinical experience. But at the same time, she's not doing, a lot of the family work that you would assume a social worker would do. But she does outreach to families. She's never gotten a no when she's reached out to any family saying like, hey, could I see your kid? I'm seeing X, Y, and Z, happening at school, and they've always said yes. So, I mean, anyone that has talked to her has had a really good experience. Also, Megan, who's in the position now, is a great conduit for other more extensive services. So if you have those kids that are truant or that are getting suspended a lot, like Megan is a great resource to say, hey, that program exists at Seacoast Youth Services. How can I help advocate for that student and work with that family to get it to happen?
All right, so this is separate from the 106 that Mary
And
corrected.
you guys provide the funding for the last 11 years, correct? We had a
It's the same
partnership for
parent
11.
organization that's providing the funding, JSI.
Right, we're talking about just this one.
JSI is providing them the
So,
funding.
yeah, the only difference is like when the application opened to make a new position that Mary applied for, like that is a new application, that is a new position, a new framework, a
But
new way
that's
to look
different
at
than
it.
this.
This is just an existing, like, can
Partnership
we
that we've
ask for the
done.
funds again?
Okay.
The in-kind working relationship.
And we even made, we even made it more palatable for you all to do in-kind rather than a cash, whether it was a grant through ACER or not. Really trying to make it more flexible because it is a great service for the school. We just also don't want it to be a barrier for you guys to be able to get that service.
So what are we looking for a motion here?
Authorization to sign the letter of commitment.
We get.
And that is not, and it's also not a guarantee of funding either. This is us just applying for the grant, not for accepting the grant funding.
And your due date is,
And our due date
is
is
April 1st, so we can have that,
that.
we have to make a decision tonight.
Correct.
I'll make the motion to authorize that for you guys. How do you want me to word that, Rhonda?
Who needs to sign the letter? The board chair?
Meredith, and I think there's a spot for college as well, but.
And we decided
Authorize the superintendent.
grant
I wanna see
money
it.
and in-kind, so no money from the taxpayer.
And no changes along the way it's going to go.
Right, it's not, it's a addition to that over there.
And I believe you have a PDF of the.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Yeah,
Yep.
so nothing's changed from what you see on there.
This is to sign the letter of commitment with Seacoast Youth Services.
Right there.
I'll second.
All in
Yes,
favor?
click on that.
All in favor right here? Okay. Okay?
I have that motion recorded.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go get my bag.
There's no question, quick question. It says data collection, analysis, and reporting. Who does the data and analysis need to get to?
Excuse me, Mr. Malone, just one more quick question, and you too, I just forgot your name.
I'm sorry, I said it's a question.
Sorry, Janine, I'm terrible with names.
Where it says data collection, analysis, and reporting, who does that get reported to?
It's called RedCap, but it essentially goes back to JSI to see that the way that we're using our grant funds is actually the way we're.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be today's students.
No, it's all,
That's data.
de-identified. It's all just numbers, like, that's where I got the numbers for the grid on the back, it's all,
Okay.
straight up numbers.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Yep,
Thank you for the
all right. Hold on. So the next thing is, the consideration in fifth grade to the elementary school is on here, but I have to, can I just say something? That, again, is a huge decision, and I think it's a community decision, and I think it needs a lot of feedback, and I don't wanna sit here tonight and make a decision on that, because there's a lot of moving parts. How do you feel?
So I asked to have this put on
Okay.
the agenda,
Okay.
just as a discussion
Oh,
item. I didn't want any action, there hasn't been any plan. I have, as a parent, spoke with the principals before about this, and I just think that it is something that should be discussed, because I truly feel that our fifth graders are like lost in no man's land between two schools, because the middle school doesn't allow them to participate in sports and some of the activities. And I personally think that fifth grade would be better off with one extra year of elementary school.
Yes.
Let them be kids for one more year. I think for their development and like mental health and for mostly development, by the time they get to sixth grade, they're more into that middle school mindset. I mean, we both have fifth graders, we know how fifth grade can be. I just think keeping them down in the elementary school and having a year, one more year like that is gonna benefit their testing when they get up into sixth grade. They'll be ready to hit the ground running. Right now, I just would like the principals and everyone to work on a plan to see if it's feasible and how we can do it. I know Brian has spoke to me before about this, and he would love to have the fifth graders down with him. Other people have said, Colleen said she's open to the idea of looking into it. I just think it's as far as we've been asking the school to make moves to make the educational system better, I think that this is a tangible move that everyone in the community will be able to see. Like, we've sat here for months arguing back and forth on stuff. Like, now it's time to put forth a proposal to make some sort of move that people and parents can see, like, yep, they have recognized that things are not jiving in both schools, let's make a little bit of an adjustment. But I just wanted it as a discussion, no motion needed. We're not trying to shatter some earth and move ground here today. I just wanted the discussion to be out in the public about this, because I know people have been concerned with fifth grade.
Can I just piggyback on what you said, because I looked at Hampton schools when I was running, obviously. I looked at all their data, and they have 3 schools. So with what you said, the pre through, maybe the 3rd elementary, and then also just an open mind that we could have an option of 5th and 6th grade as a middle school, and 7th and 8th grade as a junior high, as we did when we used to have the hall. I think the 5th and 6th were in the 3rd and 4th wing, and then the 7th and 8th were near the old cafeteria. So we had a junior high before we went into high school, so to speak. It didn't require more principals, it just required maybe the attention of the assistant for those 2 grades and the main for the, so it's just another, because I feel like putting them down in the elementary end too, this is just me, that extra group. A lot of our academics, kids don't come into 5th grade not reading. I mean, it's not the 5th grade teachers' faults. They get handed kids that can't read or multiply or add, and to put another grade in that elementary end, I think would be really questionable right now with the academic piece of it. So if we could kind of look, and I'm glad you put this on here for conversation, at maybe a 3-tiered section. Think about it. Because I know it works in Hampton. I've been able to be a pretty big part of that school also while I was on Montana, and they divided those kids up for a reason.
I just wanted something to get
I love it.
just a
Yeah.
conversation going on how we can maybe restructure, if the principals can work together, and maybe at least come up with an idea, let us know, can this work? Just outside the box thinking to see what we can do to make some changes.
Well, we still have to revisit restructuring of the classrooms too, because that's different.
Yeah, that's, so how do you want this, so this conversation, did you want to say something? I'm so sorry. This is my first night here, so holler to me, say, hey.
No, I want to be respectful, because I know public comment has not been closed, so.
Yeah, we've been pretty free tonight.
Yes.
I like to hear people speak.
Do you need me to say my name again?
Yes.
Alyssa Dow, 6th grade Labor Arts, Seabrook Middle School teacher. First, I want to thank you for supporting the application for Seabrook Youth Services and their grant. You may not know, but they support a significant amount to the Seabrook Youth program that I run here. You probably have seen our PSAs. I hope you have, because they're amazing. Without that funding, we would not have those amazing PSAs, because we have a filmmaker, we go through the whole filming process. If we didn't have those funds, that would not be possible. So thank you for your consideration on that.
Is that, can I just ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt, is that the drama class?
No, that's
So
for
it's something
8th grade.
different?
This is program 6 through 8. The 6 through 8, where we do substance prevention, use prevention with students. It's a
Okay.
leadership group,
Okay.
so there's a lot to it. But
All right.
yeah.
Just want to make sure, because with the Winter Connect thing, we've got a lot of talk about drama. And they have a lot of it. They have the Hampton School has 5th through 8th grade, and the kids are like, I think they'd be good if they had a chance to take their feelings out in another venue where it was okay. Get up on the stage, and so.
Yeah, we certainly
Just
have
a
that.
thought. You'd probably be surprised, Kelly. I would love to see that.
Yeah, so we currently have that through our youth program.
Okay.
So not only do we make a film every year and it's presented at a film festival, I mean, we're in the big screen movie theater, it's filmed in 4K. It's amazing. But we also go into elementary school and perform Samantha Skunk, which are a variety of skits related to vaping and smoking, or the dangers of taking someone else's medicine. So we do some acting there too. So there's some opportunity, and then it kind of culminates when they reach 8th grade to do like a formal dramatic performance. So this is a good segue into that, while also doing something with the community. So I wanted to just go back to what Patrick not proposed or is thinking about proposing. So I want to clarify that you're looking to propose that $35,000 be cut for SAS funding. And then I want to know, will that be included in the posted proposal that is being shared on board docs so that all families know that you're going to propose that? I think it's really important to understand that cutting that funding will impact 127 elementary school families and 63 of the middle school students and their families who we serve. That's huge for our after school program. I also work SAS. I teach all day. I work SAS 5 days a week until 6. I'm here to help students with their academics. We have Brain Zone. I do a language arts intervention. Anything I can, I'm like 100% on board with closing those gaps. So if that funding were to be lost, that would take a big hit on a lot of those students whose families need that after-school care. It's a great opportunity since students are already here to give them that math support and that LA support, which is happening during SAS time. So I want that to be stated so that everyone knows that impact. And then lastly, will there be a forum? You just brought up a great idea for a discussion about 5th grade. Will there be a similar discussion or forum for teachers and parents to discuss the impacts of the proposed changes to our budget, or will we have an opportunity to propose different ideas about where other funds could be cut? I think it would be nice to hear from staff. It would be nice to hear from families. Will there be a forum where we can have a discussion?
So I would say we just said that we're gonna have a special meeting for the budget meeting, which is a public meeting. There's public comment involved in every public meeting we have. I would encourage people to come out with their ideas and proposals. Just, everyone has to realize that a budget cut is a budget cut is a budget cut. There are things that have to go, and as much as someone is gonna be upset one way or another, that's just the kind of nature of this beast. The taxpayers didn't wanna pass the budget this year, and that's a hard pill to swallow, but now it's our job to go through and cut, and nothing has been officially proposed yet on cutting SAS or whatnot, but at the end of the day, I think extracurricular of SAS is definitely on a discussion to be on the chopping block, due to the fact that we have to provide for all the students in elementary and middle school, and as much as the 100 parents that utilize SAS is gonna be disappointing, but there's other options available in town, and they have grant funding, and we have a rec center that has opportunities. And again, the nature of the beast, I have to cut after-school stuff before I cut in-school stuff. But that's a discussion for the next special meeting. And I hope everyone comes out with public comment and comes to see that meeting, so we can discuss everything and then move forward with the actual proposal at the next meeting. But at the end of the day, the budget wasn't passed by taxpayers. So we have to do right by the taxpayers and cut the budget to where they have it. And somebody at the end of the day isn't gonna be happy, and I understand that, and it's a hard position for us to be in here, but that's the job that was given to us.
I do want to say the interesting piece of that is that that information was not shared prior to voting about what cuts may be made. I believe I heard someone say, well, we're not talking teacher positions, we're not talking that, we're talking about other things that could be cut. Well, yeah, you have to find the funds for that. It would have been nice to share with families and voters before they voted that, hey, SAS might be something that gets cut. Or, yeah, we might have to cut some positions, and be clear about that with the voters prior to voting. Because now, all these things are coming to a head, and we're finding that out now. So, yeah, the budget didn't pass, we have to make. Yeah, but it would have been nice to be specific about it, so that there's clarification for the voters prior to voting.
Okay, so we hear you, and we will be moving on, and you can spread the word, because we're gonna have that extra meeting so that we can hear.
I just want to say about SAS, I love SAS, and I think it's a great program. I agree with you, Bill Patrick. It does, I think we need to think about the majority and not the after school, so I'm with you on that. And just going back to SAS, their initial proposal was that they were eventually going to be a self-sustaining program, that they were going to have families pay. So even if they don't have to pay a huge amount, maybe they can find it a reasonable cost for families and not be a school cost. Because I think that we owe it to the kids that are in school during the day. more importantly than the ones after school who are benefit from the food program.
Can I just, do you think it's unreasonable, a little far-fetched to have maybe a survey that goes out to teachers and the staff at the school that's anonymous, that they can send in, thinking, just to kind of give, I mean, it's, we know that not everybody feels comfortable speaking up, not everybody feels comfortable putting themselves out there. A budget on what to cut, or do you think that's kind of like going too deep?
At the end of the day, it's our job to cut the budget. It's hard to go into the teacher's realm and say, like, which one of your friends or which one of your supplies, which one of your radios do you want to cut out? I think if people come with proposals to, and have ideas, but I mean, we can look at the numbers, and we got $318,000 that we gotta cut. I mean, I don't hate the idea, but I also want them to go through all their stuff and have to, I mean, they're already busy teaching the classes and dealing with the attitudes, and throwing this, well, what are you gonna cut right now at them might be a little too much.
I think, and just because of what Kelly said, and I think this is something to think about, so moving forward, when it kind of, because there are things sometimes that teachers want to say, or a cafeteria worker, or a facilities person that they would never say because they would be afraid to say it, and I get that, because there is a fear factor. However, as a board member here, I would love to see, we used to have boxes, and I know this might sound crazy, and we had boxes for staff in a corner, and then we had boxes for students. So if students had something that they wanted to share and have us hear about it in an anonymous way. And I'm telling you, some of the stuff that came out of that was like remarkable because we didn't know. And it was the smallest of fix. And even the superintendent's not here every day, right? So they're not gonna know. And even the principal having all those eyes isn't gonna see everything. So maybe that's something to consider, that there's a way to do that. Because I would love to, I want staff at our meetings. At Winnicott, we were always saying, please come, we wanna hear you. We recognized staff all the time, and the students. For like the spelling bee, the geography and the spelling bee, the first thing that popped in my head, oh, we gotta get them here next time so we can give them a certificate. Those are the things that we did, so, that's just a suggestion. And so that on anything that you want to be heard, that don't want to be known, I think it's something to consider, because we need to fix the school, and we need all of us together to do it. It's not gonna be easy, but it needs to be done, and done as quick as we can. So, just a suggestion, and I love that you brought that up. Surveys. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have one more, if it's okay, everybody's good, so we can close public comment after, because we're moving on, but go ahead.
Andrea McCusker. That would be great to be able to feel heard by the school board. Since I've been here, we don't feel heard, we don't feel welcomed, we don't feel appreciated because of things that are said in public, on Facebook, all over. So I think, first of all, as the board, it would be really great to be respectful and to not make us feel like we don't matter. And then maybe we'll feel comfortable working with you.
I just wanted to say this though, remember when we're at this table, we're board members, and when we leave this table, we're moms and dads and community members, and have
But you're
kids
still
in
a board
school.
member.
Right, but we're not a board member in the aspect of that we should be silent. So
Of
if
course
somebody
not.
feels as a parent that they wanna speak, they can do that.
But there's
And
a
I'm
way
just
to do
saying
it
that.
in a respectful
Well,
way.
everybody looks at it different, because I've seen a lot of things on Facebook that I was frankly shocked to see too, and it wasn't just school board members. So, or school board members at all, it was a lot of people. So moving forward, I think we need to fix that, and I think we need to, I'm trying, you know what I mean, it's my first night here, but we gotta remember, we want everybody to have a voice. And everybody, you got the message. You know what I mean, social worker failed, the budget failed, the people out there are screaming, you better fix things, and guess who they're screaming at? Us. So we're gonna work and we're gonna try hard to help with the school, but we need, everybody on board, and we may not like everything, but you know what, we have a job to do here, and it's those kids,
Yep, I completely agree.
okay?
So-
So hopefully moving forward, we can fix it,
That would be great.
Thank you.
okay? Anybody else, you guys all set, okay? So Patrick, help me, because I'm a little lost here with that. So the,
You're on, well, you were talking about consideration to move to fifth grade. I think we're looking for some direction from you about what you're looking for. I heard K2, 3, 5, 6, 8. I heard fifth grade moving over to the elementary school. What are you looking for administration?
just let everybody, you said the
If you guys can come
administration.
together
Yeah.
with you two and either determine if you guys can move the fifth grade down and have some sort of proposal, or if it's possible to make that like middle school / junior high, like whatever's like, I have a feeling that you guys can work outside the box to come up with, like, I don't wanna like hamstring you guys on this. I just wanna see some sort of movement as far as how we're gonna organize things to best suit the kids. So if you come back in a month or so and are like, listen, we talked and it's impossible to move the fifth grade down, or we think it's good, or we can tier, you know, fifth and sixth together to make their own kind of cohort. I just think that you guys, being the building professionals, like, I don't wanna tell you how to do this, because I can't. I don't know the rules, the regulations, the teacher, the student, like, well, ask the teachers what they think, like, how this could be possible. I just wanna see some sort of action that we can show tangible evidence to the parents that we're making some, like, real life, you can see it with your eyes changes. But it doesn't, not today. This is gonna be a conversation between the two building professionals here. Does that work for the board? I think that's a reasonable.
I appreciate that, but I just wanna clarify something, because I hear two different things happening. I hear you saying a proposal to move grade 5 to the elementary school. And then I also heard like 5 and 6 together, and then 7 and 8, those are two very different things. So is your expectation, I wanna be clear with you, and so that when we work on it, that we give you those two things. And I can tell you right now, those adults, thank you for coming, by the way, will definitely tell us what they think about that kind of shift. 'Cause that's a shift that takes a lot of time, planning,
Yeah.
management, space, certification, like all of the layers that our
It's not,
board
it's not flipping a switch and just
Oh, if
throwing
we
a
could
couple
only
of
flip
classrooms.
switches, we'd be. So.
And whether or not they choose to stay just like it is, but give us the reasons to how we're gonna improve it if it would stay that way. So there's really 3 on the table, right? 3 different.
I guess there's 3 different approaches, you know.
How we
Keep
are.
it the same, move the fifth grade down to elementary,
Yeah, exactly.
or create the other,
And you want that in April?
April, May, just give us some updates on it. It's just something that we have to be thinking about. I know this is like, this is major planning and discussions.
This is more than major plan.
It's brain surgery.
We aren't gonna know till April what the budgetary decision is.
Yeah, it's
I'm not asking for
like.
it. I'm not looking for an answer in April.
Because based on what the budget looks like, it's gonna impact all the adults that work here and the families, and so.
I just want you guys aware of it and
Okay.
in discussion, and we can make it, get back to this when we can. I'm not looking for like, here's your 8 days, you better get this in for me. We're not going Marine Corps on it and expecting crazy.
It's gonna add up.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow.
We had addressed at some point before election, and it got just kind of lost in the shuffle about addressing the different levels of the classrooms. And nothing ever came out, and that was the one thing that parents would hear every meeting about. So, I mean, we can address the 5th grade, but that still leaves.
I think too with what Kelly's saying, the 7th and 8th grade, and again, I'm gonna date myself back at that area over there. We had, we had 1, 2, 3, and 4, A, B, C, D. And that was 7th and 8th grade, I remember it, and I remember, you know, you were kind of, everybody was split up at that point, based on ability. I don't know what the answer is, but there's gotta be some fix here, because I think about what are we gonna do this summer, and I'm not ditching at all the summer school program, social emotional. But and I'm glad that, thank you, Kelly, because I think we need to look at summer school as a serious, rigorous math and reading. I know I paid $6,000 last summer for tutoring for math. And not everybody's gonna be able to do that, and it wasn't easy for us to do it either, but we had to do something. And the kids that are homeschooling because of it, the kids that are moving out of here because of it, and I wanna say one thing, if we keep having kids leave here and taking the money with them, what's gonna happen to our school if 100 kids leave times $30,000? What's gonna happen here? How can we keep the doors open? So that's big conversations to be had of how we move forward, and I just wanna kind of throw that out there.
Can I just ask if public comment is closed? I would like to ask that too.
Yeah. It's up to the board. I mean, these discussions will continue, like Patrick said, he's not looking for an answer today. He's looking for some feedback from all of you. So what do you wanna do? I don't want.
If you'd like to make a comment, make a comment.
Let her be the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you be the last one, okay?
Non-public issues to get to as well.
Yeah.
We still have an hour
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, we're all getting tapped out.
Okay.
So, I'm at every school board meeting and I've never stood up.
Can I have your name, please?
Sure, Angie Butzer, I'm a special ed teacher, technically both sides, mostly middle school. So just a very quick comment, first of all, and this may or may not be my role to share, but as far as summer school goes, those are all legal this year, legally provided services that we are mandated to provide for special ed students. This year, that's what we're focusing on, and it looks different than it has in the past. As far as, I don't know about the rest of my colleagues, but I am feeling absolutely overwhelmed with trying to wrap my head around all these initiatives and things you want us to do differently. We just got news that we're losing, we know we're losing money, we know we have to change, but we're sitting with that and feeling scared and sad and worried, and now on top of it, we're hearing, put together in a couple months, how we're gonna restructure our entire environment.
Not how we're going
Just a
to.
discussion.
Okay, put together, that may happen, we're thinking about that, we'd like to know more about it.
Yeah.
And then I heard, so then I was starting to wiggle in my chair, and I felt my colleagues start to whisper, so then I heard, and then on top of that, we want a proposal, and we wanna start thinking about how we're gonna, within the grade levels, restructure the way we teach, restructure the way we group our students. These are, I just wanna make it really clear that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that every colleague I have here and every colleague I have at home watching on their couch are wiggling in their seat and really scared and thinking, when do those contracts come out? I wonder if this is a good job anymore. This is scary. What you're proposing is overwhelming to people that are already overwhelmed.
I don't think it was a proposal, I think it's questions.
I apologize if I missed.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just trying to get
no.
conversation started around, because there are a lot of parents that are frustrated with how things have gone. The fact that there are kids in class that excel, but they're being left behind to teach a lot of their own stuff because we have, it's already tiered out in the classroom,
I
correct?
totally get that. I guess I would just beg of you to consider one thing at a time.
Well, Angie, can I just say that the discussion about the restructuring the classroom has actually been on the agenda for the last 9 months.
Okay.
And we've said this to administration for the last 9 months. Can we please sit down and find a way? And honestly, it was in a way so that we could help the teachers be able to teach all in one level. So in other words, let's say for the 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever, we've said this 1,000 times, you have a group of kids that are struggling, the teacher's trying to catch them up, then you have the kids in the same classroom that are excelling and they're trying to repack it, so they're on IXL to kind of kill time so that the teacher can focus on these kids, and then you have kids over here that are so lost that they're now, playing with pencils or they're trying.
It's really complicated.
Yeah, and it's, we have tried, people think that we don't, but we've actually sent emails, we've tried every suggestion under the sun to try to make it less disruptive in the class so that the teachers can actually teach each level and know when the kids walk out of the room after the 40 minutes or the 50 minutes that they learned something.
I absolutely appreciate your intent.
And it's been 8
That's a
months.
ginormous discussion
Right. And
with
it's-
lots of legalities.
Yeah, it's never gone
That's-
anywhere. Never, we've never, and the one more thing I wanna say is, and I'm only saying this because it's something I experienced from last week. When you have a child come home and he has a book that is empty because he spent 45 minutes waiting for the teacher to address 2 kids that have been doing the same thing every year, every day, and then the next day he comes home and tells me that he wasn't able to learn the next lesson because they had to go on IXL because he had to deal with the same 2 kids.
So I'm not suggesting that that's not really important, and it's not something that we should table in
Right.
lieu of something else.
Mhm.
I'm saying, if we want, maybe the reason that hasn't been tackled is because, I hope I'm not misspeaking, but there's always a million things. I sit in these board meetings and I take notes and go, oh my God, okay, how can I help
This
that?
has been the
I'm
same
gonna
thing
care
for
about
9
that.
months.
I'm
Am I
gonna care
wrong?
about another one.
No, I've heard it from.
Kathy, I mean,
Not
you've
as
been
a
to a
board
meeting, you
member.
said 5 times.
I'm not saying it hasn't been,
Yeah,
but
no, I
I'm
know.
just saying, let's fix something
Yep, I
first
agree.
before we point out everything else that's wrong.
Right.
And we're not saying wrong, we're saying, you know
Needs
what,
improvement.
the people out there are screaming. As much as everybody's wiggling right
You
now,
hear them too.
they're wiggling, and you go in the store, and this is as a parent, a grandparent, and you go in and your ice cream is melted because they're complaining about our school.
We
They're
hear
fed
it too,
up.
and we agree
They've
with you
had it.
that there needs to be some
We
changes.
wanna help you.
I'm
all
not
of you.
suggesting that there shouldn't be changes.
So,
I'm just saying,
we're not
let's be
even
mindful of how
suggesting a
overwhelming
change.
this is.
Yep.
And maybe streamline and,
Maybe you can all help us do that, by
Yeah.
coming to the meetings and bringing your pieces to us, because we wanna hear. Patrick wouldn't have put this on the agenda if he didn't want to hear from everybody. Nothing secretive about it, we need to do something, what is that something? We don't know, but we need to look at it and we need to make a change,
and I
whatever
think
that
teachers
change
wanna be
looks
part
like.
of that change.
I think
Maybe
yes.
2 years
They
from
have
now.
to, they should be, I think, 100%.
And it could be years from now.
They're the ones that have to deal with the kids.
Right.
They have to tell us what they can do, that they think they can do to help improve the classroom. They're the ones in the classroom. We're sitting there at a table, we're not in the classroom.
Right.
But nobody's
We don't-
saying
they don't have- they don't feel
anything to
comfortable.
improve it, so we're just trying to
But
come
they
up with
have to.
ideas on our own.
I mean, I can get text messages all day from people saying, please don't say my name. Okay, well, I can't say your name, so I can't help you.
We can banter for a long time.
Right.
It's good
The
conversation.
reality is sometimes it's really hard to stand up and say something.
Yes.
And it's hard to stand up and say something because people aren't friendly. Our communication isn't friendly. If you look at Facebook, it's not friendly. In
Forget
order to
Facebook.
speak,
Forget Facebook.
it's not
I
just
wanna hear
Facebook,
from you
I
right
use that
here.
as an example.
I am
In order
too.
to speak up and share information, you have to feel like people are gonna be friendly in their response. And it doesn't always feel that way.
So I will be the first to say that I apologize if I came up that way, I probably did.
I'm not speaking directly.
No, I'm saying I
You're
have,
a mom.
I'm sticking up for myself,
You're a mom.
I'm sticking up. And I'm not, I don't wanna sit here and put the blame on anyone, because what I say, I take ownership for. What I will say is, it's really frustrating as a board member when we make decisions based on the information we're given, but we're given very limited information. I will say this one more time. We asked for information to support that social worker. We asked for billable hours and the amount that she was bringing in so we could find a way to fund her position, and we were given nothing. So we can either say, okay, we will fund the social worker, or we can say, we'll put it on the warrant article and let the taxpayers decide, because we don't feel comfortable responsibly enough to say, yes, the taxpayers have to pay for this, but we don't have proof on what she's doing. So I did get a little frustrated, because I do see that, and I do know that there are teachers that have made comments, the board hates us. And there's other people that have said, who know us personally, that's not true. So I think the problem is there's a lot of division in the school, because there's a lot of blame put on the school board when people don't know the whole story.
Sure.
Going
And teacher-
forward, there will be
teacher-
transparency, so.
Teachers would say that they feel like a lot of blame is placed on the teachers, right? But
That is
I didn't-
absolutely the furthest from the truth, and we said that at the deliberative session.
I'm gonna be really mean right
100%
now and
not
say, SAU 21 as a whole, okay, that's who I rely upon to make this schoolwork, and we are having issues with that. I do not blame you. I do not blame you, I do not blame the board.